Hey everyone, I'm back, and I want to talk about my functional medicine journey. Um, I've had a lot of issues in my life, not terrible health issues, just mainly fertility issues with my whole reproductive system, um, and I'm trying to sit this a little bit more flattering angle. Um, not really. Thank God, no major health issues. I've not had to deal with a lot of pain in my life or anything, but things were off with me. I wasn't ever able to have children. They blamed it on a syndrome called polycystic ovarian syndrome, or more commonly known as PCOS. It's gotten a whole lot more press and acknowledgement in the last few years because it's more widespread, even more now than when I was of reproductive age. But there's always just been a little mystery in my syndrome, in my reproductive issues. Again, wasn't ever able to have children. That could be a whole video. I'm not going to go into that right now. But it just caused a lot of, I would say, weight issues. Found out that I had a progesterone deficiency, and once they corrected that, which didn't happen until my early 40s, time and circumstances, I didn't want to have babies in my 40s for various reasons that I won't go into here. But for the last 15 years of my life, I've been like clockwork. And anyway, again, won't go into that too far because that's a whole story in of itself. But when these liver issues came up, and they wanted me to have a liver biopsy. Some of this was motivated by fear because I didn't want to have the liver biopsy. I didn't want to go on steroids. This whole thing with autoimmune hepatitis or primary biliary cholangitis, they call it now. It was known as primary biliary cirrhosis. I just wanted to look into natural ways maybe that I could intervene on this. And I decided to see a functional medicine doctor because I really wanted to dig down into the root causes in my physiology for why all this was going on in my body, and see if it could be corrected by lifestyle change, dietary change. I knew stress had a big component in my life. Probably for everything I've been through, even though my PCOS started when I was just entering puberty, is when it really manifested itself. But I knew in the recent years, I think stress had really been the mitigator. It really had been the trigger for what was going on in my body. So I decided to see a functional medicine doctor, and I'm not going to mention his name here because, I had mixed results, and that wasn't anything to do with Dr. B, I will call him. He's wonderful. He is like a detective, and love him to death. And I got so much out of that experience, still getting so much out of that experience, because I still speak with him, and he has a online Zoom meeting every week where he addresses a topic, and then he takes people's questions. So he's really interactive with his patients and really cares about them, and about getting to the root of their issues. And we got to the root of a lot of my issues. Found out things about my gut, corrected things in my gut as good as we could. Found out some things about my physiology. Found out things about my genetics that I had predisposition for. And yes, I did have predisposition for autoimmune disease. And so really, I know that genetically I was predisposed to this. And with my dad's illness, even though my hepatologist doesn't completely agree that myelodysplastic syndrome is an autoimmune disease, he's not a hematologist. My dad's hematologist agreed that all this was stemming from an autoimmune disorder. And because his mother died of the same disease, more than likely there was a genetic effect, even though there could have been environmental issues involved too. That's just the mystery of a lot of autoimmune disease. They really do not know how it starts. Some studies point toward, your gut microbiome, but there's just so many things we're exposed to every day, most of which we don't have control over, that could kick you into autoimmune, including stress. And everybody's stress is unique, and everybody's stress tolerance is unique. But it seems like, honestly, since the pandemic, which was a huge stressor on everyone, bigger on other people who had to actually deal with COVID or losing someone to COVID or COVID in themselves, it was just a big stressor on the world as a whole. And they are seeing, since 2020, a big increase in autoimmune disorders. Again, going back to the vaccines, I took the vaccines, and I even talked to my hepatologist the other day about that. And he agrees. There have been cases documented since the jabs started of autoimmune disease. Now, is that the cause of everybody's autoimmune disease? No. There's people out there that did not take the jabs that have developed autoimmune disease. And honestly, I blame a lot of it on the stress of our world. The world in general seems to be a dumpster fire right now. Yes, it could be a whole lot worse. We could be in the middle of a civil war right now, or even worse. Yeah, things could be a whole lot worse. But the thing about stress is, if I lived in a third world country where I was just struggling to get food every day, that's a huge stressor to me. I live in America where everything is pretty well easily accessible. So that's not my major stress every day. There's other major stressors. Again, that's a whole video in itself, because, honestly, I really do think my autoimmune disorder was brought on by stress over the last decade that I've had. And that's not blaming anybody. That's not, I will blame my circumstances a little bit, but, I have lived through some stuff in the last little over a decade. And yes, I have come out of it. God has gotten me through it. But it's taken its toll, especially grief and loss. I mean, that is well documented, that grief, losing a loved one, especially a spouse, or especially someone you are very, very close to, can really impact your health. And I do believe that losing my Ron, and the process of losing my Ron, affected me greatly, because I was under a lot of stress. I was trying to be his cheerleader. I was loving him, and at the same time, I was despairing what was probably coming and what did come. But going back to the functional medicine thing, I decided I wanted to try the natural route first. And I don't regret it at all. Because again, I did learn a lot about my body. I did learn a lot how my body reacts to stress. I also learned a lot on how to take care of myself. And that slowing down and taking care of myself, I wasn't being lazy. I was actually being a better caretaker of the people I had to take care of. And that was hard, because sometimes I wanted to be somewhere and I just physically couldn't be, or I shouldn't be. And anyway, it all worked out. But it did take a toll on my body. And so I did learn a lot through the functional medicine process. Sorry, I'm not getting my words out today very well. But I also know when to throw in the towel on. And I'm not saying I'm throwing in the towel. And I know I've got friends that are probably not happy with me because I have made the choice to go back to Western medicine to address this problem. You know, I was recommended a whole lot of different avenues. Herbs, Chinese medicine, Reiki, different, you know, acupuncture, all this kind of stuff. But, you know, everybody has a limited amount of money. And I spent a lot of money out of my own pocket for the functional medicine, and I don't regret it. I really don't. But, you know, I also knew herbal Chinese medicine, you know, Reiki and acupuncture would have been fine. That wouldn't have been a risk. But the supplementation, when you got a liver problem, a lot of things, even herbal remedies, can be harmful to your liver. Herbal remedies are not for good, better, or for worse, or good and bad. Some people will say they don't need to be regulated like pharmaceuticals because then it would just, the pharmaceutical companies would just get rid of them. I know all that, and I agree with a lot of that. I do. But like I said in my first video, there's a time for Western medicine. And because this was my liver, I decided 1.5 years was enough time to try to heal it naturally, and that I need to get on the ball because this was mild right now. It could get worse really quick, is what I learned. It could get worse in weeks. And so I didn't want to be behind the 8 ball. Now, am I still doing natural things? Yes, I am. I'm not doing anything that could potentially harm my liver, but I'm still doing natural things. Again, I mean, there's a lot of criticism about functional medicine, and anybody can be a functional medicine doctor. I get that. I feel like my doctor, he is a chiropractor as a baseline doctor, but this man has really done the work. He goes off his studies. He doesn't seem to be all into the woo-woo stuff that, you know, that's not proven. He really does. Now, do I agree with everything he says? No. But I really respect him, and he really has helped me in a lot of areas. So, getting back to, do I believe in functional medicine? Yes, I do. I think it should be an integrative approach, meaning that, and my doctor was this way. He said, don't stop taking any medications without your doctor's approval. I'm not telling you to stop all your medications cold turkey. But he wanted to work with my doctor, my doctors. He said, I don't want to take over what they're doing. I want to be a supplement and a partner in what they're doing. So at the end of the day, when I went to him and told him that I was going to move ahead with the liver biopsy, he was in agreement. All my doctors were in agreement. My GYN doctor, my hepatologist, my GP, my functional medicine doctor, they were all in agreement that it was time for me to move ahead with liver biopsy. And so I did. And I haven't been back to my functional medicine or talked to my functional medicine doctor since I've gotten the results. But he told me, he said, anything you're ready to pursue, you pursue it. This is your health. You've got to decide what's best for you. You know, he gave me some warnings. He gave me some, you know, pretty much every one of my doctors agreed I didn't need to be on prednisone, just simply because of some of the issues that I've had in my body. And most of them do not want to use prednisone unless they absolutely have to. And because we have these newer steroids like Bud, it's not always necessary unless nothing else is working. So everybody agreed I shouldn't be on prednisone. You know, probably my functional medicine doctor would not be real happy to know I am taking a steroid, but again, he gave me his blessing for whatever I felt like I had to do, and I felt like this is the step. I can always come off any of this. If it doesn't work, or if the side effects are too terrible, I can come off with this at any time. Again, I'm not looking at a life or death situation right now. So to wrap this up, I feel like functional medicine has its place. I feel like you need to research the doctors. Be sure they're very well qualified. Not just someone who, let's say, is a chiropractor but hasn't done any other functional medicine training. To me, that's a big red flag, because I think to be a functional medicine doctor, you're going to have a lot more training than even a medical doctor, because there's so much into it. You've got to know your stuff. And I felt like Dr. B knew his stuff. Not all functional medicine doctors are out there with pure intentions. A lot of them are out there to sell you a product, and all of them are trying to make money doing this. Don't get you wrong. Even your doctor, your Western medicine doctor, is in it for the money at the end of the day. But you should feel like they genuinely care about you moreover than selling you the treatment. And that's for all doctors. That's for all doctors. Yes, I have some big issues with Western medicine. I'm not, and I mean, even really good doctors are going to tell you they have issues with it. With the healthcare system is broken. Let's just say that it's broken. But there are some breakthrough treatments out there for things. There are things moving forward in research that has promise. And yeah, the system is broken as far as the financial end of it and the patient care end of it at times, even though everybody I have loved in the last few years have been sick and died. Ultimately, I feel like got good care. But to say all that, there's a time, and I feel like this is my time that I have to concentrate on my health. If I wasn't taking care of my mother, I even have 3 cats that are dependent on me, and I want to be there for them. My nightmare scenario is I get sick and I have to try to find good homes for them. I don't want to be in that position. I am 55 years old, and I feel like I've got many good years ahead of me. So I want to be the best shape I can be in. And if I have to use Western medicine to get to that point, to be sure I'm in the best shape I can be, I will use it. Same with functional medicine. I'm going to use both sides of the spectrum. And I'm going to respect the old ways, the ancient ways, the natural ways, but I'm also know that I'm at a point in my health that I need to stop this fire in my liver before it gets worse. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you have any questions about functional medicine, I'm more than happy to answer them. So just put it in the comments. If you have any questions about liver disease, about autoimmune hepatitis, PBC, or any overlap syndromes, which may be where I'm at, we're going to find out next Friday. Just pop them into the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them or to direct you to resources that will answer your questions more thoroughly. But I hope this helps somebody out here that has a rare syndrome or has this autoimmune hepatitis or PBC. I hope this helps you, because this is the whole, not the whole reason, but the main reason I'm doing these videos is to, to try to help somebody, since there isn't a whole lot of patient experience out there on the interwebs. So I hope you all have a good day, and we'll talk soon.